I've been driving this car all week, 9 to 5, and it's been kind of, I'm not really wild about the engine noise, haven't been able to access the performance, and the car's just not really making sense to me. But then this morning, left home at 5:30, I'm gonna have to reverse this car. We'll have a lot of outtakes. Okay, but seriously, if you get a chance to drive the Abarth on the open road at faster speeds outside of the daily grind 9 to 5, it starts to make more sense. It really is an MX-5 underneath the skin, except the big difference here is a 1.4 turbo in place of the MX-5's naturally aspirated 2-liter. It might not be the best sounding engine in the world, and it's smaller in size, but it's got a much bigger torque spread, which means it's a much more relaxing car to drive. You don't have to downshift as often, you don't have to keep it in its happy place with revs, and if you need to overtake a truck, leave it in 5th gear instead of downshifting to 4th. It's a much calmer way to drive without having to stir the gearbox all the time. In terms of straight up performance, the Abarth and the MX-5 are pretty much identical. Yes, this car is a lot more powerful with 125 kilowatts and 250 Newton meters, but the extra poke isn't showing up. We took both cars to Geritech and put our V-Box test equipment in and did some acceleration runs, and they were the same. This car did 0 to 100 in 7.9 seconds and the quarter mile in 15.7. Identical figures to the MX-5. I hate to say it, but they handle pretty much exactly the same too. Abarth has gone to the effort of putting their own suspension settings in. It's got different Bilstein shocks, firmer springs, stiffer anti-roll bars, a different steering ratio, but it'll take a real enthusiast to notice any difference between this car and the MX-5. That said, it is a good handler. You'd expect it to be. A little tiny sports car like this, a little roadster, and they found a nice balance between comfort and performance. It can be really tricky to tune suspension in a light car like this. This car weighs just over 1,000 kilograms, 1,060, I think. And it can be very susceptible to jitters and bumps in the road if you put too firm a spring in. So they found a nice balance. Overall, it's a comfortable car. For those kind of drivers who will be really hard on it and really chuck it around, they'll probably notice that it's a little on the soft side. It has to be comfortable, but just like the original MX-5 and all MX-5s since, it's got soft springs, especially at the back. So if you turn in really sharply, it does squat, and that can lead to understeer and slightly vague steering, but that's only in extreme situations. Most average drivers would be happy with the settings. It's a tight little package, the steering is direct, and it's fun to throw around.